Hi everybody, my name's Holly, and today I'm going to be analyzing and showing you a very important piece of media to me. So for this assignment, I chose to use Bambi 2 as my media, because I have loved this movie since I was a small child, and because the scene that I'm actually going to be using, which is the porcupine scene, is actually how I got my nickname that has stuck with me to this day. So like I said, the part of Bambi 2 that I'm using is when Bambi meets the old grumpy porcupine. So I'll have the clip of it up here. So Bambi 2 is also known as Bambi and the Great Prince of the Forest, and it was a 2006 movie that was directed by Brian Pimentel, and it was produced by Disney. So the overall plot of what's happening in this piece of media is Bambi and his friends are trying to prove to his dad, the Great Prince, how brave and strong he is, and the fact that he can become the Great Prince one day too. So him and his friends are going along, and they come along this sort of log bridge, and they're trying to get across it, but this old angry porcupine blocks their way, and he's kind of terrorizing them a little bit. And in the end, Bambi's dad actually hears the commotion and comes down over the hill, and he kind of intervenes, and Bambi ends up running away and hiding. So the audience is definitely supposed to understand or pick up on some things from the scene. So some of those things include that bravery can be hard sometimes, trying to be brave in front of somebody who's super important to you can be even harder, and that it's okay if you fail. Another thing that I think is really important to gather from this clip is just how important friends are. In this clip, Bambi's friends are all for him, trying to be brave, and they are going to be with him every step of the way, no matter what. And they even go as far as to go, like, get his dad so his dad can come down and see how brave he is. So this is definitely how the audience can interpret it. They can interpret it as sort of a very determined sort of feel, but the reactions can also range into, just being funny, because in the scene, Bambi does have a bit of a showdown with the angry porcupine and actually ends up hiding from his dad in the little stream as he, holds his breath. So like I mentioned before, this movie and this clip in particular is actually super important to me. It's how I got my nickname. So in the clip that you guys just saw, one of the last things that is said is actually when Bambi's dad comes down over the hill and is talking to the porcupine himself. The porcupine looks at Bambi's dad, and instead of being afraid because he's the Great Prince, he asks him what he's looking at and then calls him a big moose. As a small child, I went around my house just repeating this line over and over again until my family eventually started calling me Moose, and now I think I respond better to that when one of them says that than my actual name. This text can definitely be drawn back to real life because it talks a lot about how hard it can be to try to impress somebody who we really want to impress, like a parent, and how hard it can be to be brave sometimes, and how that's okay. It also goes on about how important friends are, and how just having some people to back you up can be super important and really beneficial. I also think that this movie can be drawn back a lot to younger kids, like maybe kindergarten-ish age, because it can definitely tell them a lot about how to be brave, and I think it would be pretty easy for them to see Bambi, who is depicted very young in this movie, and kind of relate it back to themselves. So all in all, I think that Bambi 2 is not just a great movie for little kids or adults, but I think it's great for everybody, because everybody needs to be brave sometimes, and that can be really hard. I would absolutely love to hear if you guys have any special experiences with Bambi 2, or if you loved it as much as I did. Thank you so much for listening!